What is the next step for you guys?
I'm the visionary of this company. My goal is to continue doing everybody who's in a leadership position here. Like, all right, how are we training our next leaders? Anyone who comes through the doors here as an employee, whether you're field staff, office staff, or estimating or project management, we're going to develop and have our own training program here that we continue.
You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan England, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Ryan England, and on today's show of Titans of the Trades, I sit down with a second generation commercial electrician. And he has been growing mom and dad's company for the last few years and doing some incredible things around the way they deliver and support their existing technicians with technology, but also how they bring the next generation into the trades. I don't want to spoil any more for you. My conversation with Mike Carey Jr. was incredible. And even though they still have a long way to go to meet their goals, they are definitely on the right path. So I want to introduce on today's show, Mike Carey Jr. of Carey Electric. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me on here.
I'm excited about this. We got introduced a while back through another podcast guest, and we got to talk. I feel like we connected on a lot of philosophy, a lot of the same ideas around how to solve some of the problems that the trades are dealing with. So I'm excited to have you here and hear what you guys are up to over there at Carey Electric. But before we get in that, give us just a quick 60-second overview, who you are, who the company is, how you got to where you're at.
Sure. Mike Carey Jr. We started in this business back in 1982. My mother and father started the company. I kind of came up through the ranks in high school and started working for my parents full-time right out of high school as well. Went through our ECM program at Hudson Valley Community College, learned the technical part of the trade through their degree program there, and then just worked full-time and got field experience working with my father and some of the other people who worked for our company at the time, which was a great experience. It was always fun working with family and working with some of the other people who worked for my parents at the time. And then my wife and I purchased the company in 2014, and we've been at the helm of it ever since then.
Nice. So you grew up in the trades, which I love. I hear that so much. I grew up around it. I didn't go into it. I told my dad, like, it's way too much stress, way too much work. But I do remember growing up, I was telling people, I was rewiring outlets and stuff in my house when I was 8 years old. Like, that's just what I did with my dad. It was a lot of fun. And so I commend you for being in the family business, sticking with it, and then eventually taking over. I think that's really great. What is it that you've seen in, gosh, I hate to say this, but 40 years of being in the business, right? Like being around it that long. What have you seen? What are some of the changes, some of the challenges that have new challenges, but maybe some of the challenges that have been consistent over the last 40 years?
Biggest thing I would say is probably just labor in general. Just as times change, labor, school, all the requirements of what it needs you to have to be an electrician and go through our apprenticeship programs that we have now. Like it's that constantly evolved. Like as codes have changed, as technology has changed, it's like that's been probably the biggest thing that I've seen from when I started in the trade, over 25 years ago now. Like what it was then to like just some of even the parts and pieces of and the technology that we use now, and how much simpler just technology has made a lot of things just down to even wiring light fixtures up and devices up, like the quick connect things that are out there. It's pretty crazy how much things have changed in that 25 years from that aspect. Some people
Well, I
call
think
it,
even in that time, we have battery operated tools now.
right,
I
exactly.
remember if we needed to drill a hole before, we had to have a long enough extension cord.
Right. Yeah, you don't see many cords on construction sites these days anymore.
Not,
Almost every tool we use is battery powered.
yeah. So the labor stuff has pretty much remained the same, but what I heard you say is that the labor or the technicians in the field, they've really got to level up their skill set and some of their training around the technologies that have come out, because it's not your dad's electrical company anymore. Like, it's
Right.
not the same kind of work. There's so much more technology involved. And one of the things that, I know you guys do over there is you guys do the design build, which incorporates a lot of technology as well. Is that accurate?
Yes, no, it is. It's one of our biggest niche here in this company is the design build work that we do, and there's a lot of different softwares that we use to help, from a budgeting standpoint, on a bid at the start of a bid to once we have a set contract to working through that whole design and working with engineer firm to help create a good quality product without having to over design and still not having to jeopardize anything's quality and what the final design would be. It's a great approach. You're starting to see it more, and it's good because there's a lot of times where products are over designed, and there's clients and or even municipalities, they're spending unnecessary money on certain things, and as this trade evolves and more software becomes available online, and from 3D modeling to just the procurement software, everything else that we use, and even the construction management software, everything is just getting more efficient, and you're starting to see a lot of that be more efficient across the board. And then that design build process to me is like it helps a lot with just saving money and not over designing, for the end user.
So let's talk about that for a second. Not to get too technical, but if I'm someone that received one of your bids or I'm someone that's heard about you, why what benefit is there in you being a design build firm and being able to take that approach as a part to just being a subcontractor for the job?
It's more like you're getting a partner in something who's not like, we might not be an owner of said project that you're asking us to go look at, but we're passionate about what we do here. We're not trying to, just increase our sales. We're trying to deliver a product that, for what you need, but without over designing it. We'll go the extra mile. We'll look at different products and different applications where you can save money and not have to, say you spec out a $250 light fixture. We might be able to find the same performing one that's only $150, ends up over time, down to service applications, like, how a service could be laid out. It's a big difference in what that could cost you in the overall scheme of your project, your incoming electrical service. So a lot of those things that we dive into to try to help minimize costs and without jeopardizing anyone's quality, like that's something that we take a lot of pride in what we do here. It's like we obviously we're in this to make money, but we also realize that there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat in this game, and without jeopardizing anyone's end quality. So we take a lot of pride in trying to figure out the most simplistic way to do it and still provide exceptional craftsmanship and quality at the end.
A lot of marketing buzzwords you just used right there, Mike. I love it. Craftsmanship and quality and even cost savings, I think, is important. What impact does you being a design build or having that approach of design build, what impact does that have on your team and on your technicians?
I mean, sometimes it just could be as simple as like simplifying an application of how we're installing said system, right, if you will. It helps us kind of create almost like a workflow from product to product. Like we have certain ways that we do underground. We have certain ways that we approach our overhead branch services. We have certain ways we do lighting controls. Like we were able to standardize and systematize things a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially on a design build end where we're kind of partnering with one of our core clients on a lot of these types of projects, and we're not the engineer, but we are kind of like design assist approach where we're helping specify certain things and how we want to do it. So it's helped us be efficient that way and standardize things that way, so we get more labor productivity and more efficiencies out that way.
Well, and by standardizing those processes, I imagine it's the you guys know what it takes to do the work. And so you can design it in a way that your technicians are like, yes, I know how to do this versus going, what were they thinking?
Right.
I can't, I remember I used to work on cars and there was a car my dad had and he had to go rent a special tool to get this one bolt off because the engineers weren't thinking at some point in time, someone's going to want to take this bolt out.
Right.
He buried it and did all that
Right.
stuff. So
Right.
imagine being a part of that process makes things a little bit less chaotic and less stressful for your technicians. Is that fair?
Yes, for sure. I mean, even the products that if it's a plans and specs type project, we're not, it's not a design build end. Even when we look through plans and spec drawings, like we'll still try to come up with creative ways to like, all right, let's simplify this. Let's try to figure out a way where we can save the client money. We always take that approach. Like we're not a heavy-handed change order type company where we're trying to like find mistakes and then hit you over the head with it. We'd rather let's find a simplistic way to do this, and there's a cost savings and credit that comes out of it. Great, but let's do it right the first time and not have to do it 2-3 times over by not just putting more attention and time to review on how to better install a certain system.
Well, and you guys taking this partner approach and this design build approach and leveling up on the technology, I mean, a lot of cool things that you guys are doing to really set yourself apart from the rest of the industry. Tell me about one of those projects that you guys have worked on, the one that you like to brag about, but maybe you humble brag about it. But it was just cool. And people need to know that you were a part of that. Do you have one of those? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So it was a medical office building that we did here in our hometown, Albany, New York. Um, and it was a 260,000 square foot building with lots of different um, practices that from anywhere from clinical type practices all the way through cancer treatment center type practices that imaging equipment, CT, PET scan, Linac room, MRI machines. It was a large building with a ton of equipment, a ton of imaging type equipment that we had to partner up with our client that we worked with on it, and they had an engineer on the project, but we were also hired as like a design assist, like to go through all right, all through their design process. What's the most cost effective way to approach this? How can we you know install these systems to where we're not over designing or we're overspending. So we were heavy handed in that from the get go, and that was a 2 year project just from the design aspect before we even had a shovel in the ground. So all in
Wow.
all, it was about a 4 year project by the time from design to completion. So it was it's the largest medical facility in our outside of a regular hospital as far as outpatient building goes in our
Mm.
area. So it was a great project with one of our key clients that we work with a lot on these types of projects. So it's a nice little feather on our cap. It was a good project all around. And it's not just like about our team there. It's like we work with a lot of the other same trades, same contractors from mechanical and plumbing end and carpentry ends on these projects too. And it's like we all had a heavy hand in that. It was a successful project for everybody. So it was a good project to be part of.
Nice, nice. Well, and with doing those kinds of projects, I mean, a 4 year project, 2 years in the design build, and 2 years in actually erecting this medical building, there's a lot of people that go into that process. And I know that you are incredibly passionate about helping all of us solve this labor crisis that we have in the trades. And you've done some really cool things around education, apprenticeship, partnerships. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are up to over there when it comes to bringing the next generation of technicians into the trades.
Yeah, when we're trying to start as young as we can. I mean, I've even gone to some of the career days at one time I was at my son's junior high, just trying to get kids interested in the trade at a young age and showing them what a career in this field or even any other trade, what it can look like and how rewarding it can be. We're doing we go to a lot of the high school career fairs. We're involved with a lot of the BOCES, the career technical engineering type schools that we have here in our area too. We're just constantly just trying to get interest and show people like what it means to work here and what it means to work in this industry. I don't think it's promoted enough. I think it's almost, unfortunately, still not frowned upon, but it's just it looks as like you're not going into a positive career path if you choose this right out of high school in some regard. And, we're just trying to change that narrative. Like it's been a very rewarding career for myself and my family, and I've seen lots of other people grow in this industry and seeing what it's the impact it's had on their lives.
I do think that it's getting a little better, not better fast enough, because we have 40% of our tradesmen are retiring in the next decade.
Right.
It's not getting better fast enough, but I do think it's getting a little bit better. I mean, my kids are young; they're still 8 and 10, and we're already talking a little bit about the path that they want to take into entrepreneurship and the trades and those kinds of things. Just because college ain't all it cracked up to be, unless you need to go be an engineer or a doctor or something where you need that level of education.
Right.
So many more other opportunities out there,
Yeah.
and I tell people that the real impact we need to make right now is with mom and dad. Because those mom and dads of those 15 and 16-year-olds, they're pushing the college. They're pushing those things. They're like, oh, no self-respecting kid of mine is going in to be an electrician. That's a gross job.
Right.
In fact, if you don't believe me, Mike Rowe has a show called Dirty Jobs, right? Like there's a show out there that talks about how dirty these things are. I don't want my kids in a dirty job.
Right.
And while it brings awareness to the industry, I think that narrative is still, especially with the parents, that no, my kid needs to be a good, clean job. Go get a tech job or a knowledge job, something that I can go to the country club and brag to my friends about,
Right.
And, nobody's going to brag about their kids becoming an electrician for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but they just don't do that.
Right. Until they need one.
Until they need one. Well, no, nowadays, when we need one, we just curse and get mad because none of them show up or do what they're supposed to do. But that's a whole different issue, right?
This company shows up. That's one of our core values. We show up.
I love it.
We show up.
I love it. I was just on another show ranting a little bit about my personal experience with residential contractors right now. And it's just mind blowing that these people actually have businesses with the way they treat it. But I think what you said earlier, though, speaks to why Carey Electric is so different. You systematize the process. You're training people. You're educating people. You're implementing technology to support the trade and support your technicians. And then you're bringing in this next generation. So you're partnering with the schools and you're educating them on all of this. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's one of the reasons you guys are doing so well with what you got. And I'm sure that there's a next step. So tell me a little bit about that. What does it look like for Carey Electric 10 years from now? What is the next step for you guys?
I mean, my goal, I'm the visionary of this company, if you will. And my goal is to continue to, like, I'm viewing everybody who's in a leadership position here as like, all right, how are we training our next leaders? And like that's the cap that I'm wearing here now. Like we built our new facility here back in 2023. We have one last piece that we had blocked off. We're just about in the finishing stages of that, and so we have a 2,000 square foot training room, and that's just going to be like anyone who comes through the doors here as an employee, whether you're field staff or if you're in office staff or estimating or project management, we're going to develop and have our own training program here that we continue to just enhancing, and if we don't continue to train our staff and evolve that way, we're gonna get lost and just be like any other contractor that isn't taking this seriously. Like I'm passionate about, like, in order to grow this company organically, that it's going to need my constant oversight and investment into training, developing the next leaders of this business. Whether it starts at day one as the first year apprentice comes through the door, like doesn't mean that the second and third year apprentices can't be the ones also like, hey, here's our way, here's why this works.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching everybody to, like, who comes through our doors that, like, we're going to invest in you, invest back in the company, and hopefully we'll continue to grow as organically as we have, and we just keep turning out the next generation of leaders each time. That's my goal as visionary of this company, is to continue to drive our sales, enhance, develop our staff that we have, and just keep trying to grow that way.
That's fantastic. And I know that you're a humble guy and you don't like to brag, but I love seeing training centers. So if you want to send me a picture when it's done, I will brag about it for you, because that is something that we need to see more and more contractors do, is start taking ownership of saying, it's on me to train the next generation. Nobody else is going to do it. I've got to do it. And I love that you guys are doing that. So kudos to you on that. Let me brag on that for you as soon as that's done.
Yeah, and I mean, we are a union shop, and we're through. Our apprentices come through our apprenticeship program at our local JATC chapter here, and that's a great program. They learn a lot there, but it's like to really get traction out of any of this, like it can't stop after your 5-year apprenticeship. It's like you have to continuously be willing to evolve and train your staff. Like I was saying to you earlier, like there's so many things that change in this industry, every couple of years. Like, so whether it be software or just like technologies that we're using and equipment. So it's like, if we don't constantly try to keep leveling up our skill sets, then, we're just going to fall by the wayside. So we just want to.
Well, I love that you're investing in the next generation, investing in the current generation. And it sounds like you guys are doing some really amazing things over there. If people want to learn more about Mike Carey Jr., or if they want to learn more about what you guys are up to over there at Carey Electric, how do they get a hold of you?
You can reach out to me at LinkedIn. I'm on there as Michael Carey Jr. I'm the president of Carey Electric. And also through our website, we're at www.careyelectricinc.com. We're in Waterville, New York. There's a couple other Carey Electrics out there, so that's why I say that. They're in Ohio, but
no worries. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I've enjoyed hearing your story and what you guys are up to over there at Carey Electric, and I can't wait to watch you guys over the next couple of years and the growth and the impact that you're having in the industry. So thank you for sharing what you guys are up to.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me on. That's great.
Ryan England here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend, or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.